Buy, buy, buy. Well, hello again. It is you again. We keep meeting like this. People are going to start talking. I hope so. That's what influencers want. Yeah, I'm an influencer. I'm John Zidar, aka the Stock Wizard. You may have seen a few of my videos on Top and Hot, where I like to talk about hot penny stocks. Well, we're going to do the same thing here, but you're going to tell me what penny stocks to look at. Hopefully, you've got me some hot stocks. Now, I've done the due diligence on a whole bunch of them already, so I know where I'm going and what I want to share with you. Haven't really had time to look at the charts. I've been over at Penny Boys all day. I'm trading. I'm doing my thing. I'm also helping people find hot charts over there so that they can trade. And I'm also keeping in touch with Twitter a little bit. I'm so busy at Penny Boys that I really don't get a chance to hit Twitter up as much as I would like to. So all I basically do, and I do want to share this with you because it's kind of interesting. As a matter of fact, I give these little scans right here, and this is just every half hour. That's all I give them. Just a scan on what stocks are moving. Green is up, red is down. But what I want to do here is give a shout out to one of my followers over at Twitter, Dew, D-E-W. This is Dews and Blurry. Hey, girl, loving ya. Yeah, I put these up each day, and that's really all I do on Twitter. So there's no real communication. But Dew here, she makes comments, puts up pictures. She's talking to me through the day. She makes me feel like I'm in touch with Twitter. So I appreciate all you do. Thank you very, very much. So where was I and what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, over at Penny Boys. It was a bad day for me, folks. I'm trying to get into a better mood right now. I just lost money at the end of the day. Well, I kind of lost it earlier. Had a great puts play on options this morning. The market fell hard. I went to sell. I was up like 300%. And as soon as I went to sell, it didn't sell because I used a limit order, which means one specific price. I always go market because the prices are moving so fast. You don't know what it's going to be. And then I had to go cancel it. And I can't find the cancel button for options on Thinkorswim. So I have to go over to Schwab, open up pages over there. By the time I did it, it was done. I missed it. She was coming back up, and it was like all day I waited for it. Well, in the afternoon, she started to recover. IWM along with SPY and QQQ. They all started to fall again, which is what we were wanting it to do. And I was back in the green. Just got into the green, was looking good. Was going to go do a little bit of research for this show. Came back. It had dropped again to a 300% gain and then came back up. And I missed it a second time today. First time was my fault because I just didn't hit the right button. Second time, I wasn't paying attention. It's very frustrating to be doing so much for others and be screwing up my own trades. I should probably be swing trading instead of day trading. But I believe I can make it back tomorrow, so I'm not sweating it too much. And I'm here talking to you, which makes me feel really, really good. I got my friends over here, don't I? I've got Belmore and I got Kashera, Underdog. Good to see you here this week. Mark Ryan, Lee stopping in. Travis has made himself a regular. First in line today. How does Belmore feel about that? Ooh, fighting now. Get out of my way. I want to get in line first. Loving it. Okay, folks. Oh, look, we got some other people here. B87. You must be French. It's the accent. What else? Mr. Zidar. Hello, Lee. Manish G. DVLT. Yeah, DVLT. She went from what? 60 cents to over $1 so far. She's been moving today. Looking good. Hello, Belmore. Hush, John. What'd I do? All right. Got them stocks all lined up. I'll try to give you as much information as I can without over belaboring it. I know I talked a lot, but a lot of it isn't about the stock. It's about things I've gone through, things I want to share with you. In the moment, they seem important. So I hope you appreciate it. If not, I apologize for that. But I'm not going to be doing a deep dive. So please Don't be jumping into a stock because of something I said, and don't avoid a stock because of something I said without doing your own due diligence behind me. Okay? I'm not looking at everything. So let's dive on into this. Let's get rid of that DVLT. You lost money? Yeah, I lost $180 today. Doesn't matter. It's done and over with. Some days are red, some days are green. You have to accept that. And I know where it went wrong, so I can fix that. So no problem. Jumping into the game now. I've got my notes all set up here for us. Yes, my shout out my to-do list is what that was. All right, my very first ticker does come from Travis. Travis brought this in early, and then he brought it in late. I don't know if he was thinking I missed him or not, but I got you covered. We're going to be looking at FRQN. Let's just call it Freon. Makes it easy to say, or Freakin'. Yeah, we'll call it Freakin'. So we're looking at Freakin' for Travis. This is Frequency Holdings. Let me get this up on the board here. What was that ticker? FRQN. Oh, I've been typing way too long. All right, there's Frequency Holdings. This is a technology company focused on operating at the intersection of cybersecurity, AI, and digital identity. Their daily volume fell really hard today. Their share structure, real high OS, and they have stockholder deficit, which means we ain't getting none of the money. So let's take a look at FRQN and see what may be hot about this company. FRQN, Frequency Holdings, is a company from Illinois here in the United States. Finished today at a real low price, 0004. Low as you can go is 0001 on the open market. Get 1 million shares for $100 right there. Here, I think you get 250,000 shares for $100 at 0004. And this is where people like to gather up tons of shares and wait for that day where it explodes and they just cash in on it. And that's a great plan if nothing gets in your way, like a reverse stock split, a bankruptcy, COVID. You could stay down at 000s for a really long time. So we're at 0004. It doesn't show any gains. I haven't looked at the chart, so I don't know if it's had ups and downs today and just finished even, or if it just was dead nuts and didn't do anything. We're going to find that out together. This is on the bottom tier of the OTC, which used to be called the pink. It is now called the OTC ID because they have to identify a little bit more information than they had to before, which was zilch before, and I really don't see a whole lot more right now. But they say there's more information on the table for us, which is the problem with OTC IDs is there's no validated information. Financials, no accountant goes through them. These are just numbers that the management throws at us. You got to trust the management. You don't get any other filings. What else do you get? News presses. That's it. What I like to call hype. Down at this level, it's hype, folks. So you take all the news presses on OTC ID with a grain of salt. Get in, get out, take your gains. Don't get in there and stick around thinking you're going to cash in on this super new technology that they've got. Something will go wrong before you get there. Trust me, I've lost tens of thousands of dollars playing the OTC pinks because they had great news. Take the news with a grain of salt. They've got all the green ticks you could hope for, though. And this is done by a third party, OTCmarkets.com website. They take responsibility for this. It's their job. They're actually on the OTC markets. They're a company. You can invest in them if you want. And this is what they do. So we've got all that going on here for them. Independent directors listed here tells us that the company has intentions of uplisting. I don't know if that's to the QB, the next tier up on the OTC, where you have to audit your financials and be at least a penny, or if they're going to go up to the NASDAQ, where you've got to be at least $3. In that case, they would have to do a reverse stock split. They ain't close to either one of those prices, a penny or $3. So the company does focus in on cybersecurity, AI, and digital identity, and that's as deep as we're going to get into that. Relative volume for the company, she did about double what she's normally doing over the last 30 days, jumping from about 16 million up to 32 million. Share structure for the company, holy cow. Now, what's most bothersome here isn't the fact that we got 1 billion shares in the outstanding share count. It's that we have the exact same number in the float. which tells me, as they say here, nothing is owned by the insiders. Is that true? Well, it says this was updated yesterday. The insiders don't own one share of common stock. They better own a ton of preferred shares. They better have some investment somewhere, or why would we want to get into the company if the insiders aren't even willing to invest in it? Right? That's something to consider here. Market cap. We've got a lot of shares, but we ain't got a lot of market cap. We got less than $500,000. Financials. You think they're making any money? What? I'm surprised. Yeah, they're making money. Over the last 2 years, what are we looking at here? Annual. Yes, 22, 23, 23, 24. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, but we've gone from 1.1 million up to 4.8 million. They're actually making revenues, and they're paying out something, which means it's not like consultancy fees or license fees. They're actually working for their money. They're doing something. It cost them 1.8 million, but they got to keep darn near $3 million. I'm impressed. Nope. I want to see the quarterlies. What do we got here? 82,209. Yeah, that's not $82. We got 3 zeros to put on any of these numbers. So they're making money. It's really up and down and all over the place. We even got a couple zeros here and there. But I do see revenues coming in, and I do see profits coming in. Balance sheet, we got about $66,000 in the bank, $129,000 in assets for the entire company. Total liabilities, what? $7.5 million in liabilities. They're making money. They just made $3 million worth of profit last year, and we didn't get a penny of it. I mean, total assets is only $129,000. Where'd all that cash go? There's only $66,000 in the bank. Where's the $3 million? For God's sake. So we're holding deficit here of almost $8 million in this company. Disclosures, we got anything to consider over here? Management certification, quarterly reports. How about that? We do get something going on, but I doubt it's going to be of any value to you because, as I said, these are just management ticking boxes, filling in blanks. There's no auditing going on. Most important thing I always check when I come in here is see yes or no in these boxes. Was there a change of control? Was there a change in share structure? Was there a reverse stock split? All of these things. Bankruptcy. I just check up at the very top first. See if there was any major changes. If there weren't, the rest of it really doesn't matter to me at this point of the game. So that takes care of all the information for the company. Let's go take a look at that chart. See if you're following me. You are. Get rid of this. Get rid of that. Drop that away. Make our chart a little beefier for you and get our ticker in there. FRQN. Let's get our freaking on. Back to a year. All right, where does this actually start? This starts this year. What is that? July 31st. Looks like she came on the market, or at least this ticker did. Could have been a different ticker and she changed it. I don't know. We haven't done a deep dive. But this ticker came on the market July 31st of this year. Came on at just about 001. Just about, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher. But from there, she's been falling all the way down to 0003. And right now we're at 0004. So she has not been doing a whole lot over the last year. And she hasn't been trading a lot either, folks. Normally you have a lot more bars than this. Let's come on down to the 4 hour. Yeah, she's not trading very much at all. We're in a downtrend and she still looks like she's falling. All of our MAs are still rolling downhill. Our price is underneath the 9-day. We are still got full bars underneath the 9-day MA. All of our oscillators are weak. They don't show that they're falling fast, but you don't see any heat down there. Taking a look at our 20-day 1 hour, well, we're getting more bars, but not a lot. I would have expected a lot more bars. But again, she's going sideways here at 0006, falling down to 0003, but she's falling downhill. And right now, she is just bouncing between 0003 and 0004. Aha, look up here. We've got a new 200-day MA coming on the board. Now, what this could do is help the price to rise. I've noticed when the 200 or 50, whenever a new MA comes on the board, it's carrying a lot of fresh data and the investors trust it. So wherever the price is, above it or below it, the price normally goes to the new MA. Sometimes it'll stick there and work away from it. Other times it comes right back to where it was. But this could pull it up. It just got there today. That's the only thing I can see working for it. Oscillators, well, believe it or not, even with this big red bar, things are actually turned up on our oscillators. Everything is pushed up just a little bit. Let's come on down to our 1 day, 1 minute. Really not a lot to see here, folks. She's hugging 0004. We're hoping that she rides up to that 0005, 0006 because of our new 200 MA. But I really don't see any reason for her to be jumping around. But if you're in it, just hang on. That's what most people do with these HODL, hodls. I don't know how you pronounce that. All right, let me jump on back here, take a breath. Did I leave Hush John up there all that time? All right, let's see what we got here from Hush John. From Sweden. Sweden, very good. Benjamin. Good to meet you, Benjamin. Glad to have you here, pal. SERV, please. Not sure if we'll get to it, but we'll think about it. FRQN is called, Younglin's Ice Cream. Okay, folks, where did that just go? Younglin's Ice Cream. Don't tell me you took that down. No, there it is. All right, Younglin's Ice Cream. Younglin's Ice Cream used to, well, I think they still make beer. Maybe. They used to make beer before the Depression, but before, what the heck do they call that? Where the Prohibition, where we weren't allowed to drink alcohol in America. They were making their beer, Eulinger's beer, before Prohibition. When Prohibition came, they couldn't make beer anymore. So they started making ice cream. After Prohibition, they brought the beer back and kept the ice cream. And they did both of those for a long time. They both existed while I've been alive. The ice cream fell away. The beer hung around. And then the company decided to sell off. And I don't know what the heck happened to all of the beer, to the ice cream, or the name. Obviously, now it's a new company with a new ticker that just got a new chart. So thanks. I appreciate the update on that. Thank you, Sanan Tib. You're thinking about it. I like that. Butch. Hey, Butch, what's this? LAC 330. Yeah, we had a couple people over at Penny Boys today that wanted me to look at LAC. Ghosty, and I can't remember the other one. What was it, TEV? I can't remember. TEJ. Blanco. Do the do. Do the do. All right, friends. That's enough of my silliness. Let me get the do off of there. Let's jump on back to another ticker. Oh, I didn't hit my button. See, that's why I've got another computer over here. I can see you now. All right, the next one we are going to take a look at comes from Lee. Thank you, Lee. Lee made this hard for me. Lee gave me a whole bunch of tickers to check out, and I did. I went and looked at each one of them. And the problem was that virtually all of them were falling, all the charts. So I wasn't quite sure which one to look at. So I took the one that had the biggest gains. So we're going to look at ticker SKYX, SKYX, that's what we'll call it. And what did I got for SKYX? This is SKYX platform. They are developing proprietary technology for quick and safe installation of power plugs for electrical fixtures. It's a whole different way to put lights into the ceiling. You know how we have to take wires and hook wires together and put the nuts on and then shove it all up in there? Well, they don't do that. It's just a steel rod that pops in. And that's the way all these things that go into the ceiling and fans and all that stuff, that's what they've got going on here. Their daily volume was very low today. Recently reported strong earnings and filing Form 4. Form 4 we can take a look at. Form 4s are filed whenever the insiders acquire or dispose of the company stock, which I consider interesting. If they sell, that could be something worth considering. If they buy, I may want to jump in. They know more than I do. Well, this has neither purchase or sale of stock. It's for options. So we're not going to have to worry about looking at it. So SKYX, SKYX. This is a U.S. company based out of Florida. Finished the day at $1.18. She was down 3.2%, which was about 4 cents drop. This is a hot penny stock in the major exchange, the NASDAQ, which comes with benefits over the OTC penny stocks. First off, all your transactions are free on the major exchange. You can buy and sell your shares without having to pay anything but the price of the stock. You get to trade in pre-market, aftermarket. You never, ever get to do that with OTC. And some of the biggest gains I have ever seen, some of the biggest runners have been aftermarket and pre-market because there are no halts on volatility. There's no umpires on the field. No fouls are called. So these babies just keep running or they just keep falling until they run out of energy one way or the other. Plus, there's a lot more rules, a lot more money, and a lot more volume up on the major exchange, which is all in the investor's best interest. So I like penny stocks on the major exchange better than the OTC, plain and simple. So what is this company about? Well, as I said, they have got a special, go over there. It's okay. I want to share the site with you because a picture is worth 1,000 words. That's the light, and it just slides on up into the ceiling, and click, pop goes the weasel. Bing. Now, they have a couple different products. They have lights, chandeliers. They also have this thing which they call the all-in-one smart platform. Now, it seems to me it's a deja vu here. I've talked about this before because I remember going through this. This is like an Alexa. It's like a smart home adaptation. It has speakers in it. So it'll play music. It's an intercom. You can talk to other rooms. It'll call 911 for you automatically if you need it. You can control the air conditioner, the TV, the lights in the house if you hook them up to this thing. It's a smoke alarm. It's checking CO2 in the air. I mean, it does all of this crazy stuff. It's playing your music, plug and play lighting. This attaches to a light as well. So they've got all this sort of stuff wrapped up into their products with that technology of just snap, plug and play, if you will. So that's the company's products. That's primarily what they're into. What was the relative volume around the company? Really low. I mean, over the last 30 days, she's doing my favorite number, 420. What time is it? 420. Look at that, folks. Yeah, we'll get back to that later. But that's a real low number on the major exchange. Less than 500,000 shares a day. Egads. And today it was even worse than that. We're under 420,000. So we need some more volume to come into this. That's the big picture right there. Looking at our share structure, we got 112 million outstanding. Insider zone. What's up with this? All right, we can't trust these numbers. Those numbers right there are from 2022. This didn't add up. 16 and 59. Our numbers and their numbers should add up to that number. That didn't add up. So I don't know what the insiders own. So I don't know what the float is. All I know is that our float can't be any higher than the outstanding share count. And it could be considerably less depending how many shares the insiders own. Now, if they own 59 million, they got about half of them. We got the other half. Fair split. Right now, market cap is about 136 million. Financials. Is SKYX making money? They is, and it's growing. 4 years ago, we were at $43,000. COVID really slowed things down for them. Not that they had any momentum. After COVID, though, things exploded. What happened here? From 32,000 to 59 million? Whoa, that's big business. And they got to keep 18 million of that. And then here at the end of 2024, they're all the way up now to 87 million. And they got to keep about 25 million of that. Taking a look at our quarterlies, we get them. And we're doing roughly 20 to 23 million every 3 months. And we're doing roughly $6 million worth of profit every 3 months. Balance sheet. Cash and cash equivalents. The bank got about 13 million. Total assets, 65 million. Liabilities is less, about 59. So we got a wee bit of equity in this company, $689,000. not even $1 million. But we ain't holding a bag. At least we can say that. Disclosures. Anything we needed to consider here? Well, there was that Form 4. Form 4 is, as I said, tell you how many shares the company's an insider has gotten. Here, it's all about options. Options. So we're not really interested in that. I mean, it's important, but I'm not going to dive into it. And then we've got an 8K. This 8K is a material definitive agreement. I see that. I stop. Let's take time to read. And normally the first paragraph is enough information to let you know what's going on. Here, the company is working on restructuring and extending the maturity date of 2 outstanding convertible promissory notes for $2.7 million. So they're trying to extend their loans out so they have more time to pay for them. There you go. In a nutshell. So there you go, folks. That is everything but the news. Let's go take a look at that news. Highlighted. Okay, going back to August 12th. This is really the only catalyst I could find. Was their most recent financial. Sky reports an increase of 15% with record second quarter 2025 revenues of $23.1 million compared to $20 million. It continues to grow its market penetration in the U.S. and Canadian markets. That's it. And that's over a month ago, right? Over a month ago. Then they are talking here about demonstrating their products at these conferences here. Whatever they've got going, they're out there showing it off. And that's all we've really got going on here, folks. They're just showing off. I don't know if they're trying to get people to buy their products and put them in stores, or if these are conferences to get investors to come into the company. Probably both. So let's go take a look at the chart now for SKYX. Skies. You with me? Yes. Dun, 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 dun. All right, 1 minute chart. Let's take her back to a year. All right, I have looked at this. Looks like my lines go really back. I'm going to take a look at 5 year. So when is this? This is back in 2023. So, normally your lines start about the time that you were looking at it. So I may have been looking at this a very long time ago, and you can see she was in a very serious downtrend. I caught her right here, and she just dropped from there, and she hasn't gone anywhere. I mean, since 2023, she's just pretty much been underneath those lines all this time. Coming back down to that, let's look at the 4 hour. What do we got? Well, the 200 is just rolling across the screen like the ocean, and the water is getting lower and lower. The waves are getting smaller and smaller. She started here at $2.15 back in February. She hit a low of 88 cents in July. She got back up over the 200. She's over it right now. The 200 is climbing right now, as are the other MAs. Things aren't looking bad on the chart. The price is falling through all the MAs, coming down to that 200. So what do our oscillators tell us? Well, hell, our PPO is falling hard. We had a crossover, negative zone. Our red line is underneath the green line on our ADX, which says it is trying to fight to push up. It's trying to fight, but it's weak. The yellow here tells us how much strength is in the dominant trend. Low is weak, high is strong. So our green trend is in control, but with very little power. Our MACD, that's terrible. Look at that. Look at those red bars getting bigger, and falling. That's deep red. Compared to this is really bad. So she's falling hard right now. Our RSI is drooping. We're down there at 42. Drop all the way down to our 10-day, 30-minute. We're just rolling over from $1.14 to $1.36 and down. All of our MAs are crossing over the 200 MA, which are death crosses. That is going to pull everything down. And right now our 200 is flat, which is a time for a breakout or a breakdown. And as you can see, the price is already broke under it. So it's going to pull that 200 down, which is probably going to pull everything down a little bit further. Let me back this up a little bit. Yeah, she's probably, let's see where our strong supports are going to be. We got a strong support right there at $1.09 underneath the 200. That's very well where she could bounce, at least try to bounce. Hopefully she tries to bounce there. And our 1 day, 1 minute. We're on a downtrend from $1.30 to $1.18, and we're at $1.18 right now. We're just about ready to break that low. We're going to go underneath that. So unless you're playing puts, I wouldn't be looking at this right now. If you're looking to average down, I'd wait. She's still pushing down. She hasn't found a floor. Now it kind of looks like it, right? She came down. She's been bouncing on this for a while. This could be a floor, but everything has to turn up. Now, there's a possibility. She is right underneath the 50. Here's our 200 haul. There's our 200 MA. She is in the middle of both 200s, which is a 200 squeeze. But she ain't being squeezed yet because this 200 is still falling. When this turns up and the price is on top of the 50, I would say that would be a good time to get in. Because in my book, 8 out of 10 times, the price goes to and through the 200 MA. I'll repeat that. When the price is on top of the 50-day MA or above it, and the price is in between both 200s and the bottom 200 turns up, watch for the price immediately, abruptly jump. Not soon, now. Watch for it to jump abruptly to and through the 200. Now, right now, our 50 is down here to $1.19. That's up there to $1.20. That's nothing. That's nothing. It should break that in a heartbeat without any pressure whatsoever. So I would expect this to break out with just a little bit of volume. We need volume. That's what's killing this right now. She is falling because nobody's interested in her. People get into this. She's at a point to where she could actually change her trend and start to pull this back up. All I can say for skies is blue skies are coming if the volume comes. How you guys doing over here? Long hold. Okay, good. Not a scalp right now. But the company is growing. They're doing more business. Their revenues are growing. Price is dropping. Now, what I would watch for is an all-time low. If she gets that low, it's a good signal if the company has value. If as soon as she hits the all-time or 52-week low, as soon as she hits it, if it bounces immediately and starts to climb, that tells you've got yourself a good company. And right now would be a good time to average down because everybody's buying in because they see that low bubble is a flashing for sale sign. The company's undervalued. That's why you normally see bounces off of a low bubble immediately, not just any low. It's got to be like a 6-month low or a 1-year low or 3-year low, all-time low. People shop those bubbles. So if you see a quick bounce immediately, not just 1 or 2 green bars, I mean going away from a low bubble, get in before she gets too far away. Take advantage of those runs. Kashera. I like a cheerleader out there. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Sky could be revolutionary. Tanab, interesting. Thanks for the explanation. Thought it was a weird Chinese takeover of a public traded company. Oh, you mean that ice cream company, right? All right. Enough of blah, blah, blah. Let's get to what you're here for. I forgot to hit my button. I am so glad I have that other computer. So glad. You don't know how many times we've gone on and I've started talking about this page here and you weren't with me. You're looking at the top of my head the whole time. So we are going to take a look now at CPOP. CPOP was popping today and then pooping today. She was climbing and then she was falling. She was halted quite a few times. A lot of activity on CPOP. This is brought to us by Mark Ryan. Thank you, Mark. CPOP. CPOP is pop culture. This is a Chinese company. This company hosts entertainment events to corporate clients in China. There's a lot of corporations in China, and I guess they like to party too because they've made a whole company out of hosting events for companies. Their daily volume was really high today and strong. They have a super low float. I'm loving those two ingredients together. They made $30 million worth of Bitcoin purchases here recently. Liking that too. And we do need to take a look at the second 6K going down the line. See, I knew which 6K to look at because I do all this research before you get here. It's like mom cooking dinner for you. Do you ever thank mom for that? You really should. All right, let's take a look at CPOP, pop culture. Jumping on over here to the company's description. Chinese company finished today at $2.05, up a little over 46%, jumping 65 cents today. Another hot penny stock in the major exchange, the NASDAQ. So as I said, the company hosts entertainment events to corporate clients in China. The company hosts concerts and hip-hop related events, including stage plays, dance competitions, cultural and musical festivals, promotional parties, and all the herb you can smoke. I'm kidding on the last part, but you get the idea. They're showing these people a real good time, and they've got a business on the public exchange. Wow, you can do anything and have people support you, right? It's a party company in China. I love it. Taking a look at the relative volume, they've been doing less than 1 million shares a day over the last 30 days. Today, they did almost 60 million shares, 60 times their normal volume. What's going on? What's the catalyst? We're going to find one, right? We presume there's one there. Share structure for CPOP, super low float. A low float is anything under 10 million. We have an outstanding share count of 3.3. Insiders are probably going to own something. Subtract that. That's our float. Less than 3.3 million. That is a super low float, folks. And when you get lots of shares moving, like 60 million, and let's just say 3 million, that means every share had to sell 20 times. 20 times. And you know every share wasn't out there. People are away. They're just sitting in someone's portfolio, not paying attention. Others are holding those shares. They know it's a low float. They want to get as much money as they can for them. So you start seeing the stock rise. It starts to go parabolic, and you think it's a short squeeze, and it's not. It's supply and demand. There's just not enough shares to go around. There's only 3.3 million shares, and they moved 60 million shares today. Woo! We love it. Market cap, 4.7 million. Financials, CPOP making money, partying. Look at this. They get paid to party, but boy, they put out a lot of money to party. This last year, they made $47 million helping other companies party, but it cost them $44 million to party. So they got to keep $2.8 million in the bank. And that's what they get to share with us. So while they're spending all the money partying, this is all that's left over for us. I'd rather go to the parties. Wouldn't you rather go to a $44 million party? Yeah, so would I. Quarterly, China, don't ever give us quarterlies. Balance sheet for the company. In the bank, we got about $250,000, 230,000. Total assets, 42 million. Total liabilities, 26 million. There's our profit. 15 million stockholder equity. So we're not holding a bag here either. Taking a look at the disclosures for the company. Second, 6K. Why not the first 6K? Okay. Look at it. Don't get all upset. It is a equity incentive plan to become effective for the insiders. You work hard, we'll give you something for free. I didn't think you really wanted to know about that, so I wasn't going to read it, but that's what it was. This 6K is the one I wanted to share with you. Why? It's not highlighted. Okay, I remember. I'm just going to read this 2 top paragraphs for you. Pop Culture Group today announced that the company approved a strategic investment in the crypto asset XPOP. The investment will be made through the issuance of 47 million regular shares, Class A common shares, in exchange for 47 million XPOP tokens. The transaction is expected to close within 20 days of this announcement. The acquired XPOP cryptocurrency has been listed on the IBIT exchange. The proceeds from this transaction will be used to advance the application of XPOP crypto asset into popular music, virtual idols, digital collectibles, and immersive entertainment technology. I don't know what all that is about. The company's strategic investment in XPOP, the world's first on-chain entertainment economy natively covering 4 core sectors: concerts, film, short dramas, and artistic management, along with virtual idols. Something you may want to consider and look into. All right, now let's take a look at the news. Look at all that bloody news, and we're not going into all of it, but I do want you to see it, and I'll even read it kind of quickly, so pay attention here. CPOP announces plans to enter cryptocurrency market. The company signs emerging comics artist Lou Gao, adding trendy sports comics to CPOP. The company partners with Maoku Platinum to invest heavily in creating a new benchmark for global distribution of Chinese short dramas. Pop Culture's investment project, Hawaii Times, officially launches in Xiamen. We are now up to August 7th, where Pop Culture and CWIN Media forged strategic partnership to jointly create a new chapter for Chinese wave entertainment. I have no idea. You'll have to do the due diligence. The company announces its strategic invested project, Hyperbot Network, successfully lists on Binance. Shoot. Now, these last two pieces we are going to consider and look at. Pop Culture makes strategic investment in cryptocurrency Bitcoin to accelerate Web3. I told you that. They bought $30 million worth of Bitcoin. But they tell us in this piece of news that they intend on accumulating 1,000 Bitcoin, which would be $1 billion. They bought 300 for 100 million. Yeah, right. So right now they've got 300. They want 1,000. Now it seems to me whether you're into crypto or not, you're going to have to get into crypto now, folks. These companies aren't just getting crypto into their treasuries to balance out their finances. They're using crypto as leverage. They're creating products with it. They're using it. Well, you just saw. I mean, shares are being used to buy crypto. Crypto is being used to buy shares and make deals with other companies. So it's a completely new asset that is growing. You know, the dollar bill only grows so much, right? But these cryptos are all growing at different rates. And if you want to keep up with your company, you need to know what crypto they own and what it's worth and what they're doing with it. It's a lot of extra homework now, a lot of extra due diligence. So I do believe we have just covered everything about this company except the chart. I did want to point this out before we take off. Where is it? Trading halts. Over here. CPOP halted right there. I do believe if I go back a little bit further, really? I thought CPOP was halted more than that. Let me refresh this page. I would have swore there. CPOP halted. CPOP halted. So it was just twice, but that's all it takes. And I'll tell you something, since I got you here, folks, we're going to go over here. When you see a halted chart, make note of the high. I'm going to give you one of the best plays you're ever going to get. And if you can get good at this, this is the only thing you need to do to make your money. Go to halted stocks, New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, find their page. Follow every stock that's halted. As soon as it's halted, note the high. Circle it. When the stock falls and starts to come back up and gets close to the high, put in a bid for 2 cents over the high. Here's the reason behind that. Your 2 cents is so close to the high that it's reachable. So reachable. Your 2 cents over that high is a new high of the day. When the price has enough momentum to go through the high to your price, become a new high of the day, it becomes a catalyst and launches. And you get a jump. 10 cents, 20 cents, $2. You get a jump. So you could do this all day long. And when the stock falls back down, that same high will do it again, folks. So all day long, if you just mark the high, as it comes back up, you can't put your bid in too low. It won't let you do it. You got to watch. You got to wait for the price to get close to the high again. Put in your bid 2 cents over and watch how often. And you put your stop loss just underneath the old high. So everything is really close. If it doesn't work, you rarely lose anything. I mean, it's nothing. But if it does work, and normally it does, you're off and running. CPOP. Got her on a minute? No, that's not right. Well, it is. But here. CPOP. I knew it. I didn't hit the button. Now let's take this back a year. Probably notice you can see me when you have a dark screen, and I glare out like a bloody ghost anytime the screen goes white. All right. So what we've got going here, a yearly chart, we've got a low of 46 cents, which hit April of this year. And we've got a high, which hit today. We hit a high of $2.61 today. Boom. Now, I wonder if that's an all-time high. I'm going to take this back 10 years. We're not going to trust that. There have to have been a reverse stock split here somewhere. Our all-time high says $780. Do you believe it? I don't either. I'm not saying it's not possible, but, well, you know, if it's a Chinese stock, it very well could have been. I'm serious. HKED, Mogul, a bunch of these Chinese stocks that came on with 5 million shares, no warrants in the back to dilute anything. That was it. Man, these stocks went from $7 to hundreds to thousands of dollars before coming back down and being a normal stock forevermore after that. Everybody's thinking it's going to run again, and they didn't. So that very well could have been a run. These Chinese stocks come on with low floats, and they run. So that very well could be real. All right, let's come on back down to our, let's go to the 4-hour chart. So we were on a downtrend here. We hit that low, went sideways. You can see our 200 was falling. It is completely flat right here. And as she starts to climb, that's when our price started to push up, and we got up on top of that 200. And we're bouncing off of it, getting some nice pushes, going from 57 cents up to $1.50, jumping from 77 cents up to $2. So it's like 250% jumps each time she's doing this. Here's another one from $1 to $2.50, 250% run. Bing, bing, bing. Just keeps doing this. How about this one? We're at $1.34. She went to $2.76. I can't do the math quick enough, but they're solid jumps, regularly coming. We like to see that in a chart that is rising. Now, let me get rid of my supports and resistances. This is my Fibonacci. I used the Fibonacci on this surge right there. I don't have to have it. And that gave me my supports and resistances, so I knew where to trade. Now, I can use that. It's really weird, folks. I can use this one here to put my Fibonacci on, or I could use this one, or I could actually use this one right here. And the supports and resistances are going to work. It boggles my mind. The Fibonacci is a science we don't understand. These are numbers that have magical abilities, gravitational pulls. They create universes, seashells, flowers. They are involved with recreation, procreation. It's a very weird science we don't understand, but it's powerful. And we use it in the financial world as well as everywhere else. So we're on an uptrend right now. Everything is growing. We had a nice bounce here from $1.22 up to $2.60. She is still climbing. Strong volume. Strongest volume we've had all this time. All of our oscillators are pushing up except our RSI. RSI is coming down right now, but not hard. She's up there at 62. Take a look at our 20-day 1-hour. Looks a lot like the 4-hour. We're on an uphill trend. Here's our low. $1.11 over top of our 200. Everything is looking sweet. This was our first dip underneath the 200, and it's an opportunity, folks. What did I tell you the other day? When you see a price floating, normally on the 50, seriously, the 50 or the 200 haul, when it is just riding across the 50 or 200, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, no news, there's nothing going on, boom, it falls under a strong MA just like this. I think of the crouch and pounce. I think it needs to bend its knees to jump. It just can't jump standing there. It has to crouch before the pounce. And this is what I see here. So we watch these. Now, this is on the 1-hour chart. So we would have to wait for this to turn around. But a lot of times you can see these happen in one bar. Boom, boom. Now, you don't know it's a crouch and pounce until it starts coming back up. You can't guess down here it's going to come back up. That's just too risky. So what I do is I monitor it. I seen it was doing nothing, dropped real hard. Now, if it comes back quick, This isn't real quick, but it was a crouch and pounce. If it drops and comes right back to where it was, as far as I'm concerned, I am catching it in the middle of the jump. It just jumped and it's going past me right now, and I need to grab it as it's rising. And that's what happened here. As it came back up, it passed that 200 and just kept going. When it came back down, it just bounced right back up. And this thing climbed all day until it hit its high, fell all the way back down to the 9. That's a safe landing, sitting on top of the 9-day MA where it should be. Solid bars are above it. We're not worried about the wicks coming underneath it. Just a full solid bar is when you get concerned. Oscillators, rising PPO, percentage price oscillator. MACD is way up high, but she's coming back a little bit. And our RSI is down to 54, which is a little cool. 55 is as cold as I like to see it. Let's jump on down to that 5-day, 5-minute. Sideways activity, hard drop, a big pop, an even harder drop. Oh my God. And then a bigger pop. You see that, folks? Little drop, little pop. Big drop, big pop. Going from one extreme to the other extreme. And that's what happens on charts. Charts are like pendulums. They're balancing themselves out. Look for those bars, those wicks to go one direction, then the other direction. And if you can catch the swing, you can ride it for a while. But if you get it the wrong direction, man, it'll just keep beating you. You're on the wrong side of the pendulum all day long. So this jumped from $1.20 to $2.61. We took a break right here at about $1.83. She went way high, came back down, landed on the 9-day, and just went sideways until she jumped. She never actually came under it on our 5-minute. She then took a jump from $1.84 to $2.60 before she came down to our 9-day. All the wicks are coming through, but none of the bars. We started to climb, and then right here, we had a solid bar come underneath. Boom. You fall underneath the 9. Well, you can't climb unless you're on top of the 9. And once she fell under that, she also went underneath the 20. And that's when everything started to fall apart. She tried to hang on here to our 200 and our 50, which are very strong, especially together, super strong. But at the end of the day, it all fell away. And she went from 208 down to about $1.80 right now. And it looks like she's hanging on to that support we got in the middle of the day, right there, which is not bad. Right? That's about, no, I don't think it's 50%. She didn't give away all of her gains. She kept some of them and looks like she could be bouncing, but we're going to have to watch at this point, folks. There's no telling what's going to happen here. 200 underneath, MA's over her head, 200. She's in a 200 squeeze, but she's still falling right now. And remember, never, ever buy a stock on a red bar. Red means it's falling. That's a verb. It's still happening, which means the price is going lower, which means you could get a better deal. Why cheat yourself? Wait until it stops falling. How do you know it stopped falling? Because it's climbing? Well, no. How about consolidation? Going sideways. Accumulation, consolidation, going sideways is a precursor to a jump up or down. And you get that determination by reading your technicals. After this consolidation, where were all of our technicals showing? Everything was showing uptrend, uptrend. As she was going sideways, everything was climbing. So we knew chances were this was going to jump. So that's what we do. We look for some consolidation and then read our technicals and know, is this the time to get in or should we wait for confirmation? Confirmation is after you get a couple green bars going in the direction you want. You say, I'm losing money. Think of it as insurance. You know it's going in the direction you want. You got 3 bars going that way already. New highs each time. Now, hopefully they're not this big. You're out of the game after 3 bars. We want little bars. So, CPOP. Lots of excitement today. Lots of energy. Couple of halts. We had a cup and handle here that played out very well. She's back down to a strong support. She's worth watching. Put her on your watch list. Volume comes in tomorrow with this low float. She could take off again. I need a breather. Anybody else hot? I got to turn the AC off because it's just too loud. It rumbles in the background. I do have a fan on right now, but it isn't helping. Okay, we all been talking about over here. Reverse split date was October 27, 2023, when a 1-for-10 reverse stock split came into effect. And we saw a high of 720. So what? The price was $72 then? So we could have had a high of 72. Appreciate the homework there, Mark. Love me some Mountain Dew as well. That's what I said to her. What's the dew stand for? Honeydew? Mountain Dew? Oh, she had something completely different. So it's all good. I mentioned GMGI a couple of days ago and it bumped 10% today. Any thoughts there? Yeah, you're a better influencer than me. You mention it and it jumps 10%. Come on my show, dog. You can do me some good. GMGI, I haven't looked at it. I don't know. I think I mentioned the fact last time it's that gambling company. I do believe has that Tinder swipe for gambling. It puts up little live bets from AI that knows you oh so well. And as you're watching a sports game, it says, hey, is this pass going to be complete or not? $5 bet. You got 10 seconds. Yes. And I said, man, impulse gambling. God, that's going to make a lot of money. And it did. Back when I shared the information 2-3 years ago, they weren't making any money. They were still getting their licenses to do this. And right now they're doing very, very well from what I remember. I haven't done any due diligence. Hi, Wiz. Hey, Arunda, Jenna. I remember you. I remember that name. That's okay. That's why we record it. You being late and all, you can catch up. Yeah, we don't want you to miss anything. I've done a few silly things and shared some serious information. So you get both sides of the coin. There I go again, drooling. Hey, the porterhouse is in the house. Dude, where's what's his name? The chicken? Ronald? I can't remember. We lost the poor chicken. All right. How much time we got? It's not even 5 o'clock. Holy cow. And I'm already sweating. Okay, let's dive into the next stock. But before we do, I need to give you a button push here. I was already gone. All right, I'm sorry. I see other team members use this StreamYard like I do, and they bounce around from page to page, but they never show you what I do. That. How do they do that? How do they get around from doing that? I don't know. There's no buttons outside of going there. So somebody needs to teach me. Next stock we're going to consider is ORIS. This comes from the Underdog. It's a cartoon. Do any of you know it? Started off as black and white. Gave away my age, as if the beard doesn't do that. Underdog gave me 2 stocks to look at. I chose ORIS because the chart looked hotter. That was my only decision factor. That's why we're looking at it. This is Oriental Rise Holdings. And as you might guess, this too is a Chinese company. Excuse me. This company engages in planting, cultivating, processing, and selling processed tea in China. That's got to be big business. Doesn't everybody drink tea in China? And aren't there billions of people in China? But there's probably thousands of tea companies too. So what else do we got here? Decent revenues, positive stockholder equity. That's always good. No fresh news, no new filings. But the last piece of news was good. They made 2 deals in it. So we'll take a look at that. So the company, as I said, processes and supplies tea to mainland China. They finished today at 30 cents, was up about 11.5%, which was a jump of about 3 cents. This is another hot Chinese penny stock on the NASDAQ. So what was the relative volume around this company today? Well, it was up there, but not up higher than her 30-day average, which has been about 39 million. Today, she did about 28.5 million. Share structure for ORIS. Not bad. Outstanding share count is only 22 million. Anything under 100 million is decent. Down here, that is great. We don't know what the insiders own. I'm sure they own something. Subtract it. You got your float. Not going to be any higher than 22 million. And you know, when I put out news on Twitter and Discord and Facebook and I post the share counts, I only post it if I consider it a low float. I start my count at 25 million. So if it's 25 million or less, I will tell you that in all the news I post because I think that's a great share count. That's a great share count. Market cap, we're at about 6 million. Financials, most important. Yes, they have been making money over the last 4 years, presuming it's all theirs. We've gone from 22 million 4 years ago up to 24 million a year ago, down to 15 million at the end of 2024. We are keeping profits, but wow, what a huge drop in profits. We were up there at 11, 12 million, which was about 50% profits. Now we've done 15 million, and instead of getting 7, 8 million, we get 25% profits, 3.9. Is inflation that bad in China? Taking a look at the quarterlies. China don't give us quarterlies over here. Balance sheet. Whoa, they got money in the bank, right? We got $43 million in the bank. That gets added onto the assets. We got a total assets of 72 million. Oh, look at this, folks. Total liabilities, 2 million. So us, stockholders, we get $70 million worth of stockholder equity. Now, if you come over here, I can't remember what the number was, 22 million. Just call it 20 million to make it easy. If you take 20 million and divide it into your stockholder equity, wherever that was, stockholder equity, 20 into 70, that gives you 3.5, right? 3.5 what? Dollars. Right. Based on stockholder equity, the shares into the stockholder equity is over $3 a share. We are 1/10 the price right now based on that. Now, I'm not saying that's the only way to figure out the price of a share, but that's one way, and that's a pretty big difference to what we got on the board. Taking a look now at the disclosures. Do we have any? No, nothing since July, and I'm not interested. But we do want to take a look at the news, even though it's old. It's all we've got. Yeah, right there. We have news only in July of this year. No news after that. No news before that. This piece of news, Oriental Rise signs a non-binding letter of intent to acquire Dahoy and Menji. Today, the company announced, back then, that it had entered into a non-binding letter of intent to acquire 100% of the equity interests of Fujian Dahoy Tea Company, as well as Ningde Minji Tea Company. The company will now begin comprehensive due diligence on the targets and work toward negotiating a definitive acquisition agreement. The letter of intent is non-binding. Either party may terminate discussions at any time. So they didn't close the deal. They entered into conversations, negotiations, and we don't have any filings. We don't have any news to tell us what's going on. Have you finalized it? Did you cancel it? Still thinking about it? What you doing? We have nothing. So there's absolutely nothing here to explain why anything is happening, but it's happening nonetheless. Now, as a scalper, a day trader, I honestly don't look at the news. I don't have time to read the news. When I find a stock running, why would I leave a hot chart where the stock is running to go read the news, find the filing, and tell me why it's running? I'm losing money being nosy. There's no reason to be nosy. Get in there and take those gains, right? I can go find out later. You don't need to know now. So most of the time, I am completely blind and ignorant why a stock is running. Unless I happen to see the news in the morning between 7:20 and 9, I post this news everywhere, every single day, and I might have seen it there. Outside of that, I have no clue. So in this situation, I have no clue. So let's go take a look at the chart for ORIS. ORIS, that's a 5-minute. Let's push chart back to a year. All right, we had an outstanding day here for some reason that is unknown to me. This was back in December of last year. We went from about, let's call it $6.50 roughly, up to $56. Wow. You're looking at 900% run there. If all these numbers are correct, if there wasn't a reverse stock split, no, I don't think there was. Yeah, something happened that day, and I don't know what it is because there was no news. I'd have to do a deep dive just to figure that out. She came down, and she hasn't been doing a whole lot of anything, although I do have some lines down here. Yeah, we played this a while back. She went sideways. Now let me back this up because we do have now that's not in the right place. Let me move this. I can see what I was trying to do there. Yep. See right there, folks? I don't know why I did it, but I drew a line across the top of that peak, this peak, and we expected something to happen here. It didn't. Came down, and it was pretty much worthless. This trend line just didn't play out and help at all. So you know what? I'm just going to get rid of that because it isn't doing me any justice. Then we have our Fibonacci over here on this last run, or this drop, I should say. This was back in July of this year when we were at roughly 55 cents, and she fell all the way down to 13 cents. Boom, hard drop. And she went sideways for a very, very long time. Put in the Fibonacci, all of these extra lines in here are a second Fibonacci inside the big Fibonacci. This is just too big. She wouldn't be able to use any of those. So I'm going to get rid of this big one. Oh, that was all of them. Really? Oh, I see. Right. There's my 100% right there. There's my 100. There's 0% to 100%. These are my supports and resistances right now to be played. Even though it comes from way back here in July, these are the supports and resistances that you can use. You just grab your Fibonacci, wherever you have it, you poke the very top of the drop, and then poke the very bottom. Those supports and resistances are going to be respected by the price. You can use them to trade, get in just over top of one, get out just underneath one. The 38% fib mark right there is known as the launch point. When the price gets on top of the 38 right here, it likes to launch. It likes to push hard. When it gets over the 50, it is in the positive zone and wants to start climbing and keep climbing. So this is now in the zone. We have our 200 haul on top of the 50. What's missing? Our 200 way up there. And look at that fall. Oh my God, what a hard fall, folks. This is desperate. So we do see some recovery going on our yearly chart. All of our oscillators are starting to push up. Come on down to our 4 hour. No 4 hour. Why not? What about my 1 hour? What? That's the daily. What about my 1 hour? I can't get a 1 hour chart. Okay, 1 hour came up. I don't know. All right, we'll stick with the 1 hour since it's working. Now, those are the supports and resistances from the Fibonacci. Now, don't they look nice, right? They're very fluid. They're very easy to read. You can see where the price is sitting. We hit a low here of 10 cents. We did that on September 8th. Off of that low bubble, she got up on top of the 200, and she's been climbing. She's been getting a little volatility. We got bounces coming into the picture, staying above the 200. Right here, our 200 is turned strong, starting to climb fast. The price is bouncing now very hard. Coming down to our strong 200 haul and 50-day. She's struggling here, but here comes our bounce on again as the 200 MA gets closer. Now, we got a lot of fight going on right here. All of our MAs are knotted up in the wrong direction. We got some going up, some going down, some crossing over. Everything is weird. So right now we are watching it. All of our oscillators are in the neutral zone. Everything is kind of flat, not showing a whole lot of hint of what it's going to do. Coming on down to our, let's go down to our 5-day, 5-minute. There's our low of 14 cents. We are on top of the 200. staying on it, bouncing, getting some volatility. Now, she is really respecting that 200. That's something to take notice of. Even when she comes under it, she comes back to it. So don't panic. She's not one of those stocks that wants to run way, way far away from the 200, which has been a problem here for her runs. She's not running away from the 200. She's staying close to it like a teenager. She needs to run away from home. Right now, again, on our short chart, everything is falling except our 200. So right now, we're looking at a pinch between two 200s in the negative direction. But everything down in our oscillators look like they're trying to fight. So again, we're at that decisive point. It could go either way. And what's going to really make the difference? Volume. Volume always makes the difference. When you see the water coming out of the hose, can't you judge more accurately what direction it's going, how far it's going to go, where it's going to hit the ground? When they turn off the water, you don't know squat. Where, how far, when, nothing. So yeah, liquidity is a big deal. We like to see that constant flow. Right now, she's in a stop mode. I would anticipate she's going to bounce. That's my best guess. Everything is climbing right now. We got a lot of strength and momentum building up. She should come down, just bounce off of this like a reflection and keep going. Though I don't see any reason why she is climbing. Okay, enough of that one. Coming back home. Hang on, throat. 511. I quit smoking, but I miss it. I miss it bad. So I'm really dogging toothpicks here recently. I get up out of bed. First thing I do is grab a toothpick. It's horrible. Jerry John. I like that. Hi. Good to see you too. Richard. That's what the duck's name was. My buddy Richard. Missing duck. I seen his picture at the post office the other day. Made me cry. All right. Do I have anything else here? Let me see. I do. So let's get back over there. I don't want to waste time blabbing to you folks. You came here to talk about stocks, and stocks are what we're going to talk about, but I got to remember to hit the button or you can't see me. Here we go. Yes. All right. So the next one we're going to take a look at was another hot stock today. This is ticker SPRC. SPRC, not there. No, not there. Let me get rid of you. I was trying to get over to right there. SPRC. Halted. 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 All back to back. Halted. Halted. Look at that, folks. Yes. SPRC was a very hot stock today. SPRC is a clinical stage pharmaceutical company focused on medicines made out of cannabinoids, CBDs, marijuana, cannabis. Yes, the company had very strong daily volume, super duper low float. Now, when I say super duper, you can automatically know what I'm going to say. Less than 1 million shares. Less than 1 million shares, folks. That's ridiculous. Minimum criteria on the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ is 1.5 million in the float. There is a rule that says you cannot do a reverse stock split if you're going to break another rule doing it to get back over $1. A lot of companies are doing reverse stock splits just to meet the minimum bid price requirement, but you can't break the minimum float requirement doing it. Lots of companies are. They're not enforcing that rule. So all they got to do to fix it is a public offering, put more shares on the market, and voila, they fix that problem. Because they could go down to the OTC if they don't have enough shares. Not that I've ever seen anybody have that happen to them, but that's what they threaten. The company completes a merger with an Israeli electric vehicle distributor. This is a company that makes drugs out of cannabis, and they just did a merger with an electric vehicle company from Israel. That's diversification. How about this? They have launched quantum drug discovery. They're into quantum computing now. How much money has this company got? And all of the filings we don't have to look at. They're about all the news that we're going to be taking a look at. So let's go do that. We are looking at the ticker SPRC. Thank you. This is why I take notes, because my poor brain can't keep in sync with it all. SPRC finished today at, this was a penny stock when I looked at it before 4 o'clock. It ain't a penny stock now. We're at $6.09. It was under $5 when I was looking at it. Had to be, or I probably wouldn't have looked at it. I don't think. Well, we're at 6.9 right now, which is a 59% jump. She jumped $2.26 today. Woo! Hot. So the SKYX is a specialty clinical stage pharmaceutical company. Our focus is creating and enhancing a portfolio of technologies and assets based on cannabinoid therapies. With the focus, we are currently engaged with the following development programs, and they've got these different things that they're working on for Alzheimer's disease, ASD, epilepsy. Now, we know these drugs work. We already have a drug, Epilox, for epilepsy for children, which was brought out, 5 years ago, and the stock went to the moon. It was a cannabis company, went to the moon. It's the only drug in the country made with CBDs, made from cannabis. Every other drug that has gone into trials has not gotten through. I don't know if funding quits or the FDA refuses to back it up or what, because cannabis drugs are very cheap. It's a very, very inexpensive drug to make. And I don't think drug makers want cannabis on the market because it's not a money maker. Like, LSD, they're going to sell molecules for hundreds of dollars. Now, maybe your socialist countries are going to want cannabis. Cannabis is cheap and they pay for all the medicine for their countries. So it may get out over there. So let's get some information here about the company. Taking a look at the relative volume. Boom! We went from 5 million shares a day over the last 30 days to almost 90 million shares today. That's kicking. Share structure for SPRC. Oh my God, less than 1 million shares. Obviously, they've done a reverse stock split here. We are down to just a little over 500,000 shares. And when you sell, what was that? 90 million shares, and you've only got 500,000 shares, not counting what the insiders own. They may own 200,000. I don't know, but let's just say 500,000. That means that every share had to sell virtually 188 times today. 188 times. One stock sold over and over and over today. Tell me that hamster wheel is not spinning. Bzzz. That is hot, folks. That's why the stock got stopped numerous times today. Too much volume. You couldn't even fill the orders fast enough. Couldn't be done. Share structure. We just covered that, 500,000. We got about 2 million in the market cap. Financials. They making any money? Yeah, but nothing to brag about. Over the last 4 years, they've been bouncing from just a little over 1 million to just a little under 3 million. Right now, they're at 1.3 million and got to keep 500,000 for profit. Woo-woo. That's real exciting. Quarterlies, we get nothing here. Balance sheet. We've got 1.5 million in the bank. We've got 10 million in assets, 2.1 million in liabilities. So we are holding stockholder equity. We get 8 million. Now, do that simple math again. At this very moment, we got roughly 500,000 shares. Put 500,000 into 8 million. What's that come up to? 16. 16 what? $16? We're at 6. Now, this can change. As soon as they do a public offering, I don't know, are they going to put 2 million shares on the market just to cover the low float aspect? Or are they going to put 10 million on the market? Or 100 million? We don't know. How many shares do they have that they could put on the market? We don't know. They don't tell us. Authorized shares is how many they have in the bank. So that will dilute it. But right now, it's worth $16 at this very moment. Crazy. Disclosures for SPRC. This is all from 2021. We're not interested. 2025. Are we in the right one? Yeah, we are. 6K. appointed Mr. Amate Weiss, former chairman board, as the president of the company. They just did this September 21st, so they changed their president. SKYX resolves to launch innovative quantum computing. That's what we need to take a look at right now, but I do want to finish the filings here. Automix, yeah, all of these have to do, that's right, all of them had to do with the news, so I didn't need to be here. So let's dive into that news. Please highlight my news for me. You're not going to highlight it. Well, poo on you then. I know what I need. Okay. Had to regain compliance. This is obviously when they were going to be doing their reverse stock split. SKYX announces updates regarding proposed merger. Now this, I do believe I highlighted. Yes. SKYX, a specialty clinical stage pharmaceutical company focusing on the development of therapies to treat disorders of the central nervous system, announces additional progress in connection with the proposed merger with Automax Motors, a leading vehicle importer and an exclusive importer of IE Zhangoy Automobile Group, manufactured electric vehicles in Israel. And SKYX is going to acquire 100% of them. Now, I don't see any other real important information here. I'm going to let you dive into it. But this is something they have just gone into, an entirely new deal where they bought 100%. Let me see. There was another piece of news here. Shareholders just approved that deal right there. So we know it is finished. It has been completed. We got a piece of news here today. Two pieces of news. Both of them basically talking about the same thing. One talks about the technology. One talks about something the technology's already done. SKYX resolves to launch innovative quantum computing enabled 3D protein modeling initiative to revolutionize AI drug discovery. Now, if I remember, let me see here. I want to make sure I get this right. Also, this piece of news, I don't want you to miss that. SKYX and ClearMind, another company on the exchange, collaborate to publicize international patent application for the novel combination therapy targeting obesity and high blood sugar, which is working with diabetes. So they're working with ClearMind too, another company working on drugs. Now, this quantum computing is quantum computers like AI working to discover new drugs. This new program aims to transform drug discovery by potentially achieving unprecedented accuracy in predicting protein structures and interactions with their ligands, potentially paving the way for breakthrough in structural biology and personalized medicine. Now, it seems to me I saw something else. Maybe it's in this last one. Dun, 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 dun. Well, this is, it's not highlighted. This N2 off is something that they're working with now for one of the disorders for the central nervous system. No, small lung cancer. There it is. Pancreatic cancer, small lung cancer. They have a drug that is now being looked at and looking very promising. There's a lot of information here. I didn't get a lot of time to look at this. It was one of the last stocks I had to do due diligence on, and I was losing money on the market. So I apologize for that. So you're going to have to do your own due diligence to see what this is all about. But that is good news here. Pancreatic cancer, lung cancer, we have a lot of headway being made now with AI and quantum computers, finding target areas, finding ways not to kill cancer, but to stop it from duplicating, stop it from replicating. And as soon as it stops replicating, it stops growing. And that is in activity dying. And that's what they're looking at now. Quit trying to kill it and just let it die by not letting it replicate. Was there any other news there that I may have missed? They've got lots going on. Here they're working with ClearMind also with fatty liver disease. So they got a lot of things going on. And remember, this company's working with cannabis, right? This is very unique. Now, that is a little sad to me because I haven't seen the cannabis drugs getting much love. So as much excitement as I see in the news, I just don't see it being carried over to realities in the real world here in this country. Let's go take a look at this chart now for SPRC. Yeah, you're with me. I almost had a panic attack there. Ugh. Getting awfully warm. Still got a voice though, so we're still in the game. All right, we are looking at SPRC, SPRC, or however you pronounce their name. Let's take this back to a year. Nope, that's an hour. Try again. Pow. Okay, so that's 1 year right there. So obviously she's coming out of a serious fall. Our 200-day MA is falling out of the sky here. Once it caught up to the price was very anxious to run. Look at this. We had a big rip going from home. This is our home base. Went all the way to and through the 200. When the second bar came down, it did not come down any lower than the first bar. This tells me it's looking for an opportunity to run and run big. I call this a directional intentional spike. It's a horrible name, but I don't forget it. Well, what happened? She went sideways and took off. Lived up to my expectations. She went from, wow, $8.50 up to $37.60. That's a big rip. That's a huge rip. Now, I am a day trader, so I don't hang around. When I see things starting to go parabolic, when they start going straight up, folks, that's time to put the parachute on. Exit, find the door, get out. You don't have to get out of everything, but take your money, take some profit, and let the rest go if you have to be there. But by golly, don't let it all ride when it starts going straight. That is an exit signal. Parabolic is an exit signal. Sell on the green while it's rising. If you sell on the red, it's falling. Which would you rather chase? A price rising to sell or a price falling to sell? So she came back down hard and fast. Back to the 200, under the 200, down to the 50. Looked like she was going to bounce. We're back to the 200. But what is the 200 doing? It's falling. It's falling here. It's falling here. It's falling all the way until here. It has not stopped falling. There was no reason for a breakout to occur. A breakthrough, yes. A breakout, continue running? Nope, nope. So if you break out on a falling 200 and try to run, chances are you're going to get tripped up, pushed down, knocked down, and you're going to fall down further. You could have fallen way the heck down here because you broke the rules. You tried to stay up and you had no right. Watch, you'll see it happen one time. It'll come way down below where it started. This just came down normal, stayed around the 200, hugging it until we had a fall away here at the end of July. Right at the beginning of August, right at the beginning of August, she fell from $7.40 down to $1.75. Woo! You know people were waiting for a bounce back here. She fell all the way down. She's under the 9. Started going sideways. That's your first token sign. She's not falling anymore. She's going sideways. Look how tiny the bars are. Getting real pancake flat. And when they get super flat, we look for an impulse. We look for a and we get an expansion. Boom! Big expansion. All the way from down here to the 200. She came back down. Now she's on top of the 9-day and she's off on a run. She's changed her direction and she's climbing. We've got our Fibonacci there. She's already run past our 100% up to the 161, which is the big run. The big run. I did not place that line up there. I placed my lines down here. This just happened to hit on the magic number of 161.89. Perfectly, it hit it. That's what I mean by magic. Nobody put those lines there. That's how they hit. That's why I like the Fibonacci. All of our oscillators are climbing. Everything looks like it's very hot, very strong right now on our yearly chart. Look at our 6-month 4-hour downtrend from 28.35 down to $1.61. We've got a push. Look at that. Beautiful 200-day breakout. 200 haul turned up where it turned blue. Put a line right there. I know you can see it, but I'm still going to put a line right on that. Okay? So here we are, itty bitty, tiny baby teeth, super flat bars. went very flat. Look at that. It's so freaking flat. It's just a line. Boom, impulse. We get on top of the 50. She's rising. She went sideways. There's our line. This is when our 200 turned up. Boom, big bar to and through the 200. Proof in the pudding, folks. I don't want to BS you. I want to show you over and over and over again how powerful the 200 squeeze is. When the 200 is above the 50 and the 200 haul turns up, it will bust through the 200-day MA. But it's going to be pooped out and tired when it gets up there. It took a lot of energy to run to it, break through it, and past it. It's got to wait. It's got to come down. It needs to refuel. And normally it'll come down to the 200 or just underneath the 200 to the next MA. And there it'll bounce and come back up if it's strong. This is looking strong, but she's not there yet. She's hugging right up underneath that 200 for a long time. And right here, she is ripping. When everything looks like it should rip, everything's pointed up, boom, she's taking off. Now we are up here on top of our 61. We're above the 50 on our Fibonacci. This is a great grow place. We don't expect things to fall on the 61 fib. We expect them to climb, especially when all of your MAs are climbing. All of your oscillators are pushing up or in the red. Yeah, our RSI here is falling, but it's still in the overbought. We're at 71. So that is still looking very, very good to me. Take a look now at our 1 hour. So she went sideways on the 23% Fibonacci for a long time. She jumped here. Boy, look at that. Once she got up on top of the 33, she really got a lot of power, or the 31 there. And this is where she started to push. She started to change her trend. Now we are up here at our 61, leveling off on top of the 9, which is what she's been sitting on this entire climb. Never abandoned it. When she came back down, only a wick went through it. Full bars are still above it, still climbing. All of our MAs are still pushing up. All of our oscillators are looking strong, except the RSI. And the RSI, for the most part, is the price. If we were to turn this price line here, you can come down here and do this. If we change this into a line, now it's tough with all the other lines on the board. But if you look at that one line, and then you look at this line down here, they look alike. The price and the RSI are pretty much the same. It's like the round globe being flattened out and made flat to look at. That's what they do with the price. The price is going up and down, but they make it flat and they put it on the RSI. Let me get back my Heikin-Ashi bars, which is what I use, not the standard candle, which looks like that. Now let's see if that looks any different than my Heikin-Ashis. Not much, but the Heikin-Ashis leave no gaps. You have no hollow spots, solid lines. You can see your patterns real well. You can read the charts easier. But if you're looking for patterns, if you're into bar patterns, not chart patterns, but looking at individual bars, you're not going to want to use Heikin-Ashis. You're going to want to use your regular candles. Now, I've got my own bar plays that I share with you, my directional my DIR, the one I just showed you, my directional intentional spike, my pillar, which goes down, a wick that goes down through many MAs and comes right back up. That's a skyrocket. A big bar that stays above your MA with a long wick that comes right back up is a rocket takeoff. Remember that one. So everything is looking good on SPRC, folks. Closer we get, the better she looks. She is floating right now, accumulating, going sideways. That's not a bad thing. She's not falling. Falling is bad. Going sideways is irritating, but it's not bad. She's going sideways on top of the 200, the best place to sit and relax. It is the most secure position. She's come down to the 200, dipping underneath it. Now, what did I just see there? Looks like she's kind of minding her own business, going sideways. She's taking a dip. Now, if this falls fast, watch for it to bounce back up right to here and then launch. You got to bend your knees if you want to jump. This is what I keep trying to teach you. So don't let every dip, every drop scare you. Read the charts. Come down here when you see a drop and read what's going on here. See if there's any undercurrent that is going to affect the price's drop and turn it into a bounce and take off. So SPRC, it's worthy of putting on your watch list, folks. Absolutely. Whew. Now I'm getting tired. Okay, the Penny Stalker channel. Hey, good to have you here, buddy. I haven't seen you for a while, at least not here. I haven't seen anybody for a while here. In case you didn't know it, YouTube kicked me off. They said I was dangerous, that my videos were harmful to the community, and I took that personally because all I do is try to help. So that was really offensive and aggravating. And now they say I'm allowed to share my information, but it's not good enough to pay me for. So YouTube says I'll never be paid again, but I can share. Sharing's nice. I don't mind. Oh, Stuart, where you been, mountain man? Been missing you, dog. Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. How's your beard doing? Is it getting there? Mountain man in the house. Hey, John, it has been a while. All right, folks, I know there was probably a few more tickers. CJET, I'm sorry, Jenna. I am just kind of wore out now. It's been a long day on Penny Boys, 8 hours of trading and finding hot stocks. And I don't know how many stocks, I wonder, did I have any more? Oh, Kashera. Oh, God. Oh, no. I got two more there. Kashera had one. You guys can't see that, can you? Well, here, let me show you just so you know what I'm talking about. Right there. Kashera has STFS, which I did see today, Star Fashion Culture. They offer marketing campaigns, execution of services, and advertising services. Very strong volume, very low float. We like that stuff. Steady growth on revenues. That's another green tick. No news or filings for the last 2 months. And then Kiki, we squeezed you in last week, Kiki. Can't get you in this week. Sorry. Kiki wanted to look at EVAX. That is a vaccine. They are using AI to discover new cancer drugs. Lots of companies doing that now. Their daily volume was super high. They have a super low float. You got to go check these out, folks. These are the ones we're looking for. They just made a license deal for millions of dollars. I think they got $7 million in the front door. They can get $352 million in the back door. The company isn't making any revenues right now. All they have are patents, and they licensed out one of their patents, which is bringing in money and going to keep them going until 2027, which means there shouldn't be any public offerings with a vaccine until 2027. That's what, saying we have enough money to keep us going. So that's what we got there, and I'm not going to be able to cover it, folks. My voice is going, and I really am kind of tuckered. I'm kind of hungry, and I got to take a pee. It happens. All right, folks, thank you for your time. I appreciate it, man. You guys are so good to me. You really are. I wish I had a tip cup. You could drop your thanks in there, but you know what you can do? Like me. Follow me. Watch my videos when I put them out. I'm not getting paid, but it makes me feel good to know that you're learning. And in case you didn't know, I put out a video yesterday for AREB. They're doing a reverse stock split of 1 in 20. They said nobody is going to be left with anything less than 100 shares. So if you have 2,000 shares, you're going to be left with 100 shares after the reverse stock split. But if you have 1,000 shares, you'd have only 50. They're going to let you keep 100. If you buy only 100 shares, they're going to let you keep your 100. Now, I'm confused, and I don't know how this is going to work to the people. If you had 2,000 shares, you paid $1 a share, that's $2,000. After the split, they're worth $2,000 for 100 shares. I have 100 shares, but you don't take any of mine. I paid $1 a piece. That's $100. After the reverse stock split, the shares are now at $20 a piece on the market. Shouldn't my 100 shares be worth $2,000? I don't know how this is going to work out. So this is something I did a video on. It's the first time I've ever seen one of these that could follow through. It wasn't HNRC last time. It was Shrimp, SHMP, that said they were going to do this. They didn't follow through, so I didn't get to see what actually happened. This company is on the major exchange, so chances are they're going to follow through October 3rd with this reverse stock split. 100 shares for $100 should make us $2,000. I don't know, though. So we're going to find out. I don't think we'll lose any money. We should make money. So that's been a conversation piece over at Penny Boys, over at YouTube, even on Twitter. Lots of people think I'm nuts. Others think I'm a genius. We're going to find out. I'll see you next week, folks. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Thursday, unless it's a holiday. I will be here with my beard, guaranteed. I like you, folks, and I know you like me. See you then. Who said that? Okay. Home Alone.